Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius. Today, we're going to talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a shooter video game to talk about, a book about the cast of The Office when they were kids, and we have a totally awesome guest. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Mike Armstrong. Mike is a mortgage broker and works at a bank with money.
Wow, Tiberius, thanks for that great introduction. I appreciate it. I wish more people would classify me as awesome. Yeah. And we'll talk about some money.
Okay, well, today we're going to start off with the beginning of the week, and this is going to be a challenge.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
Today's video game is Feeling Italics Difficult Chart Obby 2. This is a game on the Roblox platform. Because it is on Roblox, you are able to play it on PC, Mac, Xbox, and even your cell phone. And it is free. It was made by Feeling Italic. This is the only game available from Feeling Italic. So most of you know I like obbies, but that means I want to be sure a game is good if it has an obby in it.
What's an obby?
Well, an obby is parkour, really. So let's say there's like a block here, like a block, and then there's another block in front of it. You have to run and jump to the other block. You can go up, down, steep hills. There's even ones like there's like a whole block, but you can't walk on it.
So you have to jump the whole thing?
Yes, because sometimes there's like these like little red bars, and they can kill you if you stand on them.
Wow.
So you have to jump over them each time.
Wow, that sounds dangerous.
Well, at least it's in a game. So you join the game and you can move around. You have to move around the parkour, otherwise known as an obby. So you have jumps, slides, death bars, uneven jumps, and even walls I have to attempt to jump around. Those are called Neos. My dad hates those, and the most, really. They have different colors when you beat part of the whole obby. There are a few stages: beginner, easy, medium, hard, difficult, advanced, challenging, tricky, and intense. My dad made it to easy and stop. I got to difficult and got tired of it.
You did you?
Yep.
Okay, well, keep working at it.
Well, this is a lot like other obby games without any new options. Plus, they want for you to pay with real money if you really have a hard time with the level. So, I give Italics Difficult Chart Obby 7 out of 10 stars because the obby got harder and harder, and I raged a lot. But it was more fun to watch my dad try and fail at it again and again. Oh, you know what I mean.
Yes, dads know what it means to fail, especially in games like this. This sounds pretty difficult.
It is. And now it's time for the book of the week, The Office, A Day at Dunder Mifflin Elementary. This book is written by Rob Perlman. You may remember Rob from his other books, Pink is for Boys and Fun with Kirk and Spock. Let me read you the back of the book. In fact, Mike, would you like to do the honors?
Sure, that would be great. Thanks, Tiberius. So Michael Scott is a new line leader at Dunder Mifflin Elementary. It's a very big job, but Michael is sure he can do it. There's just one problem. Michael doesn't know how to lead the line. Filled with beloved characters and hilarious references to the acclaimed TV show, this is a storybook is the perfect way for longtime fans of The Office to share their fandom with the whole family.
Nice. Well, this is an book and it's worth 0.5 points or half a point. It's made for first grade and 9th month. This is a great book basing the show The Office with everyday issues we find in school. First off, the line leader was going to have a party and needed everyone to get in line. They were trying different ways to line up. They tried alphabetically, but they were still learning their letters. They did tallest to shortest and fastest to slowest. It's also included the banter uses from all the TV show from The Office, since all the children have the same names of the people in the TV show. I give The Office a day at Dunder Mifflin Elementary, 10 out of 10 stars, because I really like that some of the ideas for the line was kind of dumb, but this is a little kid's book, and I guess they're trying to teach different ways. But the final one, the buddy system, was kind of crazy. And now it's time for our interview of an interesting person. Today's is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Mike Armstrong.
Wow, Tiberius, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Nobody ever calls me amazing except for you.
Well, you're welcome. And Mike is a mortgage broker and works at a bank helping people get enough money to buy a house.
That's right. You know, people want to buy their own homes, and we try to help them finance that. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what we do.
So first off, how are you enjoying being on the show?
Well, I like it. I've known your father for a long time, and you're doing a great job, and I think you're going to go a long way, so keep up the good work.
Okay, so I have to ask. You are listed as a mortgage broker. Can you tell my listeners what that means?
A mortgage broker is an individual who facilitates or helps a customer or an individual to borrow money to buy a house. And it's called, when you close on the loan, you obtain a mortgage. Okay. And that's what I do.
That's cool. So you just find money so people can have a house and you just give it to them?
Well, you know, we don't really, I guess you could say we give it to them, but they have to go through a rigorous process in order for us to determine if they're worthy of the money. And we do that by analyzing a lot of different factors in the individual's life.
Okay. So they have to pay it back. So how does a loan work, really?
Well, yeah, they do have to pay it back.
Oh.
So what happens is we interview the customer and we ask them to give us some information like where they work, how much money they make, what kind of debts they currently have, and what type of property you're going to buy. Okay, we ask them all that information, and then we kind of drill down on each one of those topics. And we put all that information together, and after a couple of weeks, we can make a final determination as to how much they can afford. But it takes a lot of time to do that.
Okay. So how do you know how much of a loan someone can afford?
Well, the main thing is we look at their income and we look at the amount of debt that they have. Okay. And we want to make sure that they don't have too much debt. We also look at their credit, and we pull a credit report on them, and a credit report explains to me how you have been paying your debts.
Okay.
All right? And if you pay them on time, that's a really good thing.
Okay.
If you don't pay them on time, that's not going to help.
Okay. So how did you get started in the mortgage business?
Well, I got started in the business back in first part of 1987. I was out looking for work one day, back when I was 29 or 30 years old. I was looking for a job, and I was in an office building up in Maitland, and went into a bank. Actually, it was an office. It wasn't your traditional bank. And I went into this office, and it turned out to be a savings and loan, and they were looking for somebody to learn the mortgage business. And so I applied for the job, and I got the job, and that was 33 years ago.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So what is the best part about being a mortgage broker?
Well, I think the best part is knowing that you are giving good advice to individuals looking to buy a home for their family.
Okay.
That's very important that you give the person really good, honest advice so that you can help them be financially successful in the future.
Oh.
All right?
Okay. So what is the best part of... Stand by one. So how does someone find you if they want to buy a house?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to find me. I shouldn't say a lot. There's a few. But, I work at a bank in Winter Park. You could probably Google Mike Armstrong mortgage broker or mortgage banker, and I would probably pop up. Or, you could talk to your friends. I've been in Orlando for 60 years, so there's a few people around town that I know that might have heard my name before.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So, do you just help with loans for cars and boats or just houses?
Well, the bank that I work at does car loans and boat loans, but really what I do is house loans. That's correct. Okay. Yep.
Okay. So your bio says that you used to run your own company. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, when you run your own company, you got to do everything, right? Mm-hmm. You've got to make decisions on where your office is going to be. You have to make decisions on how much money to spend for various pieces of equipment. You're responsible for relationships with national mortgage banking firms that I would sell a loan to. When I do a loan for somebody, it's not my own money that I'm using to give you to buy your house. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I get money from somebody and then I give it to you and you promise to pay them back. So that's kind of, I am a middleman that facilitates finding you financing for your home.
Oh. So was it more fun to run your own company or working at a bank?
Well, that's a good question. I think running your own company, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of focus because you're doing everything from paying the bills to emptying the trash can and everything in between. When you work at a bank, you have other people to help you and advise you. When you're running your own company, everything rests on your own shoulders. So I think I had a nice, long 15 years of running my own business, but the opportunity to work at this bank right near my home presented itself one day, and I love working there. It is a great, great place to be.
Oh. So you mentioned credit before. So how does someone get good credit?
Well, the easiest way to get good credit is to make sure, the number one rule, make sure that when that bill is due that you pay it on time. Okay. Always pay your bills on time. That tells the general public or anybody else that you want to borrow money from, it tells them that you pay your bills. Okay. Very important.
Wow. So what exactly is credit? Is it like Bitcoin?
No, I would not say it's like Bitcoin. Credit is is documentation, as I mentioned, that you pay your bills on time. Bitcoin, I'm not an expert at Bitcoin, but it is, from what I understand, it's a stock. It's like a savings account. It's like a stock is what it is, and you buy an investment in a stock, and hopefully the stock goes up and you make money. Stock could go down and you could lose money. So Bitcoin is not like credit. They're two separate facilities, shall we say.
Okay. So what is the coolest part in the mortgage business?
The coolest part is getting somebody approved for the loan that they want. That's the coolest part, because you've done all this work and you get them approved and you call them up and say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, congratulations, your loan's been approved. It's a great feeling, and it makes them happy too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you always know that you were going to work in a bank?
No, I didn't. When I was a kid, like your age or even in my teenage years, I didn't. I went to college out at UCF and didn't know what I wanted to do. But I like many people, you go and get a degree, and sometimes you stay in the field that you studied, and sometimes you fall into another opportunity, which is what I did. Yep.
Wow. So when no one is looking, do you get to throw the money around and make it rain?
Well, we do have a lot of cash in our bank, but unfortunately, I don't get to throw it around,
But when you're alone in the bank.
Yes, when I'm alone, they got that vault locked down pretty tight.
Darn it!
Yeah, it's it'd be nice to just have money and make it rain, but unfortunately,
can't you just open the vault, go in it, start getting packs of money,
and
take
rolling
off the rubber
around
bands,
in it.
That's the best when you actually get to do that.
Okay.
So, do you ever have to work the teller lines?
I don't think they would let me work behind the teller lines.
Why?
Yeah, you've got to count all those nickels and dimes and quarters, and you have to be exact. And sometimes in my business, when you're doing figures for people and they tell you something and it turns out to be a little different, or I tell them something and they want something different, numbers are always changing all the time. And I just, working behind the teller line probably is not my what I would be suited for. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is the coolest part about running your own business?
Well, it's kind of the same thing I mentioned before. When you work hard and you get somebody approved for a loan, that makes me happy that we've figured out how to get them approved, and then I get to call them and tell them that their loan is approved. That makes them happy, and it makes me happy too. Yeah.
Okay. So, kind of run me through it. What kind of tasks does a mortgage broker need to do on a daily basis?
What kind of tasks do we have to do? Well, first thing we have to do is to get an application from the borrower, and read through that. And then we have to take all that information on paper and we have to input it into our computer system, okay, so that we can track it all. And we have to order somebody's credit, right, to see if they have good credit or what
that should be easier.
Yep, you're right. It's not too hard to order credit. Yeah, I just go on the computer and punch some information in and hit send. Yep.
Who are you sending it to?
The credit bureaus.
Oh, okay. So, do you need a lot of training to work in this job?
I would say you need to get good at it. It takes a few years to get proficient at understanding risk, because lending money to people is a risk, right? You give it to them, you hope they pay it back.
But if they don't?
If they don't, well, hopefully they do, but you get into an area that's called foreclosure, and that means that the bank would
take away the house.
They could take away the house. Yes. Hopefully that never happens.
Yeah.
But sometimes
hopefully
it does.
Sometimes it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when you loan money of people, to even buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you don't have enough money to pay it back, you have to give away the car that you bought with your money to them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bought a house with it, you have to give them the house.
They have to, yeah.
Which is bad.
That's right.
Because you don't want that to happen.
Yep. The hardest part of being a mortgage broker is telling somebody they don't qualify for a loan. That's tough. Yeah.
That's tough. So, if you want to tell your clients how to make your job easier, what would you say?
What would I say? How to make my job easier?
Like go low prices?
Well, no, there's a lot of paperwork in my job, so I would say that we all need to read things better, because the more I read things and understand things, and the more the client reads them, they understand them, and that way the process goes a lot smoother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what was the coolest property that you got to do a loan for?
The coolest property I got to do a loan for, let me see. Well, I haven't done any loans on any houses on the moon, I'll say that. That would be pretty cool if I could make a loan up on the moon.
Oh.
But I've made some loans on some pretty nice beach houses in Florida.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Beach houses are good.
It is. Sometimes I have to go visit the house just to make sure that it's
good.
It's there and it's a nice house.
So what was the first job that you ever had?
The first job I ever had, boy, I've got to think pretty hard on that. That was when I was about your age, 10 or 11 years old. I had a paper route, and I used to deliver papers 7 days a week on my bicycle. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was hard work, though, but I made a lot of money. I made like $50, $60 a month.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was pretty good money. And then I worked at Little 500 a few years after that.
What's Little 500?
Little 500 is a go-kart track up in Maitland, and that was fun. Yeah.
Well, was there anything you learned from that job to help you be better in the mortgage business?
Well, I think just, anytime you have a job and you're working for somebody else and trying to help them, you should always be honest and do the best job you can.
Okay.
That's what I learned.
Okay, so in your bio, you talked about different types of loans. Can you explain the most common ones for my listeners to understand?
Sure. So there are various, the most common types of loans are either fixed rate or adjustable rate loans. So a conventional fixed rate loan means you have a fixed interest rate and a fixed payment for the entire term of the loan. If for some reason you want an adjustable rate loan, after a certain amount of time, your interest rate can go up or can go down for the remainder term of the loan. So most people...
So it's kind of like grades in a school book? Like a report card?
Well...
It's like 4 quarters. First quarter you can be so low.
Yeah.
Then you go up.
I mean, you get a D.
Or an F.
Or an F, yep.
Then you go up to like a A or something.
Yep.
Then you go down to like a C.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
The ending, maybe a D.
That's exactly right. That's very good. It can go up and down. Yep.
I mean, the average might be a F or a B. I don't know. What was the craziest thing that has happened while you were doing your passion?
What's the craziest thing that ever happened? That's a good question. I've had some interesting customers over the years. I can't remember all of them, but I do remember I was doing a loan for a lady who was married, and after a certain amount of time, I needed to verify her income, and so she gave me her tax returns with her husband on it, but she wasn't on the tax return. Another woman's name was on the tax return. Yeah. That was kind of strange. So apparently, the gentleman had a couple of wives, and I think certain cultures, that's okay. But that was quite interesting.
A couple of wives?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what advice would you give my listeners if they wanted to grow up and be a mortgage broker?
What advice would I give them? I would say that you probably want to study business. You want to maybe get a finance degree or an accounting degree. The mortgage business is a very good business to be in. It's very rewarding in the fact you're helping people with their finances and buy property for their family. So I think mainly just being patient too,
Wow.
because it's takes a long time to do it right.
Okay. Well, if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
What would it be? Just keep working hard and doing the right thing.
Keep working hard.
Yep.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Thank you, Mike, for helping me with Math Corners. Today, we're going to talk about graphing lines. So I've been doing my IXL.com math skills and found graphing lines. Well, my dad says that this is like taking a picture of an equation. So if you remember a few weeks ago, we talked about graphing points. A month ago, we talked about what is a line. Now we get to graph more than one point and draw a line between them. Oh, and remember, lines go on forever in both directions. So, sometimes you are given the points and then you have to graph the line. That is easy. So first you plot both points and then you draw a line in between them. So let's say you look for a pattern that would be able to make an equation for what that line presents. So let's say that you have like line AB and have points A, 3, 3, and B, 5, 5, and then you would draw the line and you would notice the line goes through 0, 0, and 4, 4, and so forth. So you can figure out easy that x equals y, and that is the line. So now you get the equation, and you have to sometimes find out the line. Like x minus 2 equals y. Well, first you solve for x. Then if you add 2 to both sides, then you get the equation to x equals y plus 2. And now you can plot some points. It is always easy to start with x equals 0, so that would make y equal 2. When x equals 1, y equals 3, and so forth. So now you can plot the points and draw the line. Now this can get a lot harder with x equals y times 2, but that's for another show. So Mike, do you now know all about how to graph and define lines?
Well, that was a pretty thorough analysis, but probably not.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for your help with Math Corners. Now it's time for the heart of a lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. I work at practicing integrity when I play games and make sure to be fair. If the levels are not fair, I play with them so they have a better chance of winning. I also do my reading and math each day when no one is looking. I try to make sure I get all my tasks done before my parents have to ask me. This is much better than have to stop playing and just do stuff I was already supposed to do. So Mike, did you see or use integrity at all this week?
Well, yeah. I mean, integrity is critical to the formation of anybody. Like you said, honesty, doing the right thing when people are not looking, doing what's best for another individual and not yourself. That is integral. That is, it's a focal point in dealing with people's finances and people's lives. It's very important in the mortgage and banking business and any business in general. Integrity is critical.
Well, of all of the heart of a lion virtues, which is your favorite?
Well, you mentioned leadership, you mentioned integrity, you mentioned obedience and nobility. I would have to agree with you and say that integrity is probably the most important and critical aspect of personal development, becoming a better human being. I agree with you. Integrity's it.
Okay. So we should always try and be lion strong in everything we do.
Exactly. You really should. And you'll reap the rewards down the road. Yep. Good job. Good job.
And that's our show, folks. I'm going to thank the one, the only, the amazing Mike!
thank you, Tiberius. You know, if I had more people like you, I wouldn't need a website. You could be my full-time advertiser. You do such a great job. And for all your friends out there, if you want to contact us, you can call us at Commerce National Bank and Trust in Winter Park. You can also look us up on our website at cnbt-fl.com. Thanks for having me, and stop by the bank sometime, and I'll show you the vault.
Okay. It has been so much fun talking with you today. And I hope in the future that I can visit your bank and see how everything works in the bank, though.
Anytime.
You're
Anytime.
welcome.
All
And
right.
be sure to listen to us next week on the Tiberius Show. Their host, Tiberius! Bye! That's a wrap, and booyah!
That's a wrap.